Have you ever wondered about taking a variety of fruit, like an apple, and mixing that with another variety of fruit on the same tree and letting like two different type of things grow, or with pears or with roses, kind of seeing two different colors of roses out of the same stalk? If you're like me, I've gone to the store over the years and seen this kind of thing. You're like, oh wow, 5 varieties of fruit on the same tree. I'm like, that's kind of cool. I wonder if I could do that. So I decided to take a stab at it, and I've got some videos from a couple months ago and some videos today, and then maybe there'll be a follow-up video down the road to show you what I've learned and some pretty cool success with this. So let's check out today's backyard adventure. Well, if you've checked out my channel at all, you saw a couple months ago there was a video I posted about this Honeycrisp apple tree. And I've had a couple different pruning videos and things, some cherry stuff, and I'm like, if you've watched those videos, you might have seen some little tape put on there, but backtracking to some old footage I had, I went ahead and did some pruning. I went and watched a couple videos, I've talked to some people over the years, and I'm like, I bet I could do this. So I've got some results to show you, but before we get into that, let's back up and let me show you examples. All right, so I have the little 3-inch piece of Honeycrisp apple, and I've got a Honeycrisp apple tree I just got. So now these two are not pollinators for each other. I may add a pollinator onto here next year. I've got some other apple trees that have the pollination, but my goal is to see if I can get this thing on here while it's young. I haven't even planted this tree yet. I just picked it up from the store. I'm super excited about it, but I want to take this thing and see if I can get it on here so it can start growing, and just have one limb of Honeycrisp mixed in with the Honeycrisp and kind of see how this goes after a year. And then next year maybe come back and add 1 or 2 more varieties onto this. So let me walk you through. But this was just cut off of a Honeycrisp tree. So I took this piece and I'm gonna do a little graft, show you how I put this on here. First thing is I gotta figure out which of these branches is about a similar size to this, and I've got pretty much all of these could work. So here I'm matching this up, and those are very similar size. I've got some buds that can take off and launch from this, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this right here. I think I'll go right there. Alright, so this is going to go just like this on here. I've got a new blade on here, so it's nice and clean. So I'm going to do basically a simple, just cut this thing right down just off the center of the middle, but kind of take this thing down. And because of the sharp, this is super sharp, I want to be super careful. So I'm really careful on here. Okay, I'm going to go about an inch down. Let me show you what this looks like. You can see here it's slightly off-centered. Went about an inch down in my cut. And then with this one, I'm going to do just the opposite, so I can shove this down in here. Evaluate where my buds are, something like that. So I want to keep it nice flat. Alright, so you can see here, overall, fairly flat in here. And this is just going to slip right into here. Okay. And so that's where I want that thing to heal up. Let me walk you through this before I tape it up. All right, so you can see the 3-inch piece just wedged in there. I'm going to tape this up so no water can get in there. You can see I got a couple buds that can shoot up and backing up a little bit. Assuming that thing goes, it'll be a good spot. Okay, so I'm going to take my pink tape. This is just that caution warning tape, and start down here. Wrap it around one tight so it can self-grip with itself. Oop. So take the caution tape, wrap it around one time so it can kind of grip itself. And I'm going to start giving it some stretch tightness. I've also done this with black electrical tape. It works really well. Just want something that's going to keep this thing watertight so that rain doesn't get in here. It can heal up. So you can see kind of firm, getting this thing stretched in here. Over time the sun will bake this and it'll kind of start to fall off. Keep that nice. Just a hair bit higher. Come back down. And I always, my last part, I come back around and up, kind of like a knot. Get that nice and tight. Pull that. So I've got my wood glue. So I like to take some wood glue and just on the top part where it's been cut, just to help it from drying out. Put that on there and let that dry. There's a couple buds that can take off. We'll see how this goes. This has been a pretty fun experiment. I really want to encourage you to try. I'm going to do some more of this, messing around with different types of plants, flowers and fruit and different things to see what kind of stuff I can mess with. Maybe someday I'll get to the human body and see if I can transplant something onto somebody else, but that's a little above my my skill set right now. All right, so here is the Cosmic Crisp tree, but the Honeycrisp here, you can just see, I mean, this thing is, it's thriving. It's got great growth, and looks like that thing has just really taken off. That's that pink tape, just looks like it's starting to bubble, like maybe right down here there's a bud trying to break, but I'm just gonna let that thing be and heal up if it naturally wants to stretch open. So here we have two different varieties of pear tree. One is an Asian pear, and then the other one is, I think it's a Bartlett. But coming down here, you can see, just looking at this tree, there's something's not right. Something looks odd in that one set of leaves there. In fact, same thing here. You got the yellow, and you're like, what's going on? Well, the black electrical tape tells you those are the two grafted branches, and both of those things were successful. So I didn't know if I'd get one or both to work, but you can see here, that branch is growing. It's still taped up there, and there's new life. We'll see how that thing goes. And these yellow leaves here match on the Asian pear tree, the yellow leaves over here of some of that new growth. And then you got here, there's that black tape, and you can see how with this tree it has taken off, and this graft, and that thing is growing. Now I did take an extra cutting and drop it down into here. You can see that this is still alive here, but I don't know if that one's going to survive. But moving over to this other tree here, again, there's the black electrical tape going down. You can see here, there's a baby tree seeming to be growing. Just stuff that down into the dirt, and when I plant these down the road, I gotta figure out where I'm gonna plant them. But when I plant them, I'll take that out, pot that up, and if the other one survives, let that thing go. So with the pear trees, pretty successful. What was that, 1, 2, 3 for 3 on the grafting, and then just throwing the piece of limb into the dirt. For sure one of those took off. The other one maybe, we'll see after a little more time, but got to keep those roots nice and wet, really protect this tree this first year, and I think those will go pretty well. Many of these grafts have taken. That whole V-cut and inserting in a similar sized piece has worked pretty well with the apple trees, especially with the cherry tree, and now with the pear trees. So I think it's a good way to go from what I've heard and from what I've learned about. It's kind of one of the go-to ways to graft in different varieties. So hopefully this has been helpful. If you've enjoyed it, if you got thoughts, comments, ideas, please put those in the comments, and we'll see what comes next. Have a good life.